Howdy, everybody, whoever's in here. Five people in here, and no one's talking. Hey, Boulder Creek. Yes, it is the Tough Shed. I had them built for me. Had it built for me last summer. They did a great job, and actually all the outside bench work, they did it. So that saved me a lot of time. I had to build the middle, the peninsula that the camera and the computer's sitting on right now, but all the outside wall stuff they built. This one's 14 by 34. So it gave me enough to do around the outside wall and a peninsula, and my minimum radius is 32 inches on it. So I've got enough room for that. All right, Art. That's fine. You can listen, watch me paint. So I know y'all wanted to see paint dry, right? I'm actually painting some track tonight. So yeah, I think that's this. I'm not sure what it is here. I think if you put almost anything on, you got to get a permit, but it's, it's the raising of the taxes too. That's the other thing. And they told me when they built this, hey, Risen and Rome, how's it going? They told me when I built this that Tough Shed told me that they had to charge me sales tax since it wasn't going to be on a slab, and the city couldn't charge me any property tax. Well, they were wrong. The city raised my property taxes because of it anyway. So I don't think it raised it much, but. So I'm just going to be painting some track this evening. Rockwall, okay. I'm not exactly sure where Rockwall is. You know what, though? I can sure look it up. I'm thinking it's over by Dallas. Yeah, that's right. That's right over by Dallas. So you're not too far from me. So yeah. Well, Boulder Creek, the permits for this was only like $30, so it wasn't that big deal. Yep. I know where Rockwall is. I have been through there and I forgot, but that's not far from where I am. Probably about an hour and a half drive. 2 hours at the most. Hey Heath, how's it going? I just thought I'd come out and hang out in the train room. I didn't see anybody really doing a live stream. I don't like to step on anybody's toes when they are. So I hope nobody is. So I was just going to paint some track tonight. I've got it. I don't know if you can see it. I've got it primered. I use, show you what I use. I use that as the primer for it. Just spray it on. So I like to do it over gray. It seems to make a better color when you do it over gray. So plus it's enamel. And you know the acrylic paints just don't stick that well to metal. So when you're painting your rails, it just doesn't. And this engineered plastic too. This engineered plastic on these ties are just not. Acrylic has a hard time sticking to them without a good base. So I usually use enamel paints when I paint my track. If Michael stops talking, okay. Yeah, but getting back to art, yeah. Hey, if you want to drive an hour and a half or two, you know, I know Rockwall's up on I-30, so if you just head south a little bit to Interstate 20 and then go east, you can be at my house in about an hour and a half or 2 hours at the most, if you feel like coming. All right. So when I'm mixing enamel paints, I usually start out right around a 50-50 mix. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on the humidity and the temperature. So. And one thing I've learned, I mix in these little plastic cups here. So the thinner, the lacquer thinner that I mix the enamel paints with actually eats through the plastic. So you got to put it inside of something. So. So that ought to be good for a start. I can't hold on to anything. Even though it's lacquer thinner, you can mix it in with the enamel. It doesn't. It thins it just as well, and it still sprays well. So that's why I'm using it. There we go. And you know what? I am going to, even though I have a mask to spray with, I'm going to open my door too so it vents. I would not recommend spraying this stuff without a mask, and especially inside a room like this. Let's see. Hey, Dwight, how's it going? Lowell Patton. I'm sorry, I don't think I've seen you in my chats before, but welcome. Glad you're here. Or hopefully I just haven't missed you, Lowell. So, hey, John, Grandpa, how are you? Shay Zinscale, how's it going? So, I am going to put that on and then stir my concoction. I really um, like this color that I'm using from Model Master. It's raw umber, and it's got that good color. Um, hold on a second. Paper towels are on the other side. Or I thought they were. I hope I didn't run out of them. But anyway, I've got some here. So anyway, I've got it painted up to here, so I just need to continue on. So if I'm ignoring y'all for a minute, you know why. It's just because I'm fixing the airbrush and I can't watch the chat at the same time. I don't think I cleaned my airbrush out well enough last time. Terrible. There we go. All right, now let's do it. Perfect. Boy, that runs out really quick. I hope I have enough. Move my compressor down a little bit. Without spilling my paint. There we go. Almost out of what I mixed, but I wonder if I'll make it to the end. Yep, Roy, I'm painting. So thing is, when you're painting track, you got to get it from all angles, kind of. Well, let's see. All right, running down the cup there. So what I'm going to do is I got to mix some more up here. Dump in the rest. Pour a little bit of my lacquer thinner in the bottle. That's about what I had left. That cleans the bottle out too. There we go. Oh, let's see. Go back over here. I see spots I missed. Making a mess. Now I get out of might get out of the camera frame here a minute. And the good thing is you don't have to be perfect with this, because if you just leave a hint of the gray, it just looks like weathering. So I will turn the camera here. You can kind of follow me. Well, it runs out really fast when you're painting big areas. I don't have a bigger paint cup either. So. Let's see if I can just pour some in here. Yeah. I'm almost to the end. I hope it holds out. Oh, almost. I've got about another 1.5 feet to go. Let's see if I can scrape a little more paint. Now, so what I'm going to do is, just in a real world effort to make it look different. Sorry, I don't have my airbrush holder out here. I'm going to get another color of brown. I've got a color of brown here. This is burnt umber. Why isn't... I don't know, Heath. Why am I not using a spray booth? And that would be a pretty big spray booth, wouldn't it? All right. So let me pour some of this in here. And I can finish it up with the burnt umber, which is close to the raw umber I was using. One of the things I like about using lacquer thinner with the enamels is the enamels don't take quite as long to dry with the lacquer thinner. So it's a good thing because enamels usually take a long time to dry. All right. There we go. I think I'll have enough here to finish. Move my thing lighting down a little bit. And one thing good is I'll probably go back over some spots I missed with this burnt umber. Just a little bit different color, and it'll give me another layer of weathering effect. And this is, you know, I've thinned it half and half, so it makes a good thin layer when you put it on. So you don't cover up the gray completely. Because I don't want to make it a solid color. I think that looks pretty good. And I'll just take what I have in my airbrush and dump it back in there. And do the fun part of airbrushing is cleaning. Oops. That'll leave a nice big hole. You ever get that lacquer thinner? You ever get that lacquer thinner on your foam? It eats through it. There we go. So what I do now, let me take this off a second. What I do now is I'm going to go back, I'll give it just a few minutes, and then I'm going to go back over certain spots with a light color and just for some highlights and to make some ties lighter than others. Let's see. So what I miss? So, hey, Martin, how's it going? Caboose, how are you doing? Yeah, so this is almost, yeah, see, this is, look at this. This is dry to the touch. If I get a finger without paint on it. Yeah, nothing coming off. And that's one good thing about using the lacquer thinner is it will evaporate and dry more quickly than if you use enamel thinner. Roy, it's 14 by 34. So my laptop right now, my camera is sitting on my Peninsula, so I've got another half over on that side. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I can do this. I've got a couple colors. I think I'm going to use this one called Sand. And I'm going to get real dangerous and mix it in the cup, because I'm just going to use little bits of it here and there. And I've got I still have some of that brown left in the cup. I didn't clean it thoroughly, but that's on purpose. My little stirring sticks. What'd you get, Rick? So I'll just go over this, certain spots and kind of mist it with this sand. And so this doesn't have to crack. Let me spray it in here and make sure I'm getting the sand color out, not the dark color. There we go. Oops, sloshing paint out. So, and then what I'll do is I'll come back in and then just try to get a few individual ties here and there. And although some ties get really light like these, it won't matter. Once you put the ballast on and all, it kind of blends things together. But one of the other things is um, I'm going to come along with some pastels too. So Rick, yeah, I didn't. Wasn't that great? I said, when I had that box lying around, I'm going, hey, these fit in here perfectly. So yeah, there you go, Roy. I agree with you. All right, so let me just dump this back in. I did some stuff there. Try to clean this out a little bit better because I'm gonna shoot some. Whoops! Almost killed myself. I'm gonna shoot some clear lacquer in just a minute. All right. Now I think I have some lacquer over here, but if I don't, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to have to go out and get some in the garage. All right, that's clean enough for what I need to do. Oh, it's there. I'll put it on again in a minute when I spray my lacquer. So, um, I hope y'all can entertain yourselves for like 2 minutes because I ran out of my dull coat and I got to run to the garage to get it. So we'll pause for station identification and be right back. Ha! I'm back. That's it, Caboose. It's watching paint dry. Hey, Shay, you're lucky I don't have a wireless setup here, huh? Or I'm lucky, maybe. All right, so what I do, see, that's good and dry. I come along. Um, you know, they sell these. I got these at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure Michael sells the same thing. Some of you might even have these. I take this dark one. It's kind of a grayish brown, and I run it along my track in spots. Make sure to get the outside of the ties too. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not meant to be. This just gives another little variation in color to your ties. And since the paint's dry to the touch, but it's still wet, really, the pastel sticks really well. And it doesn't, it won't come off when I spray it with a dull coat. Like I said, this just gives a little extra layer of weathering to the ties and kind of blends everything together, the different colors, like this light color I put here. And you want to be you don't want to be real particular with this because you're trying to give it the effect of different weathering patterns here. And like I said, once you put the ballast down, you're gonna see a huge difference too, because the ballast makes a difference as well. Yeah, make sure you get the outside of your ties. Yeah, this is a great little color that's in that set. And one thing I don't really do is anymore, I'm trying not to really paint my switches. So these are micro engineering switches. These micro engineering switches, on the bottom of them have a spring, so they spring back and forth, and there's a little plastic cap glued on top of that spring. So I have had a lot of them fall off. So I don't know if it is a bad manufacturing process or because maybe some of the paint dissolved the glue that was on that little cover. So I've really stopped painting my switches just because of that, because I don't know what was causing that problem. And the micro engineering switches, the color is actually pretty good on their ties for the switches, are even better than their regular flex track. So I'm not too worried about it. I still paint the rails just I just don't paint the ties. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Just turn the camera. So you can see I'm just rubbing along this little grayish brown pastel, rubbing it on top of the ties. Like I said, I'm getting the edges too. And I kind of go along with my finger to blend it in if you need to. It just, like I said, it just makes another good weathering layer and tends to blend things together. All right. Run my finger along it. Just to kind of smooth it all out. And so those ties I painted, you can't really tell it. Sorry. You can't really tell it on camera, but those ties I painted lighter colors, you can actually see the lighter color through the pastel. So it still retains that look of different weathering patterns, but the pastels just tend to blend it together a little bit. And then once I dull coat it, it should be should look good, hopefully. All right. So after I finish these jars, I actually save them and make sure they're good and clean, and I can use them to mix paints in. All right. So here's my clear lacquer. This Model Master stuff, of course, since they discontinued it, it's getting hard to find. So if anybody finds flat clear lacquer in this Model Master at your hobby shop, I don't have any around, let me know. I will gladly send you the money for it. Okay. I'm spraying lacquer. I'm going to put this mask back on. And this, I wouldn't spray anything less than an N95 mask for this lacquer stuff. It's pretty intense. So all right. Use my little paint stirrer. Make sure that's mixed good. Come over here. So, all right. So let's see what happens. This, believe it or not, this paint cup still has a little bit of that sand left in it. Not enough to really make a difference, but that's okay. More weathering. I did that on purpose. Variation is the key when you're doing stuff outside. Variation is the key. This little paint cup doesn't hold much. Ready? Stir her out. Hey Scott, how's it going? All right. The good thing is this flat clear lacquer dries really quickly. Keep stepping on my cord. Press it. There we go. All righty. Okay. Move down here some. I'll try to turn the camera. Get on the other side here. So this is just a flat layer just to seal everything in, all the pastels and the various colors I used. That's all this is for. almost done. To come back in and do just a little bit more. Just a good way of mixing it with the dropper, just sucking everything up. And I'm almost done. With this section. I'm almost done with this section. So let's start down here. I dripped a little bit out of my paint cup. That was there. Onto the track, so no big deal. Just another place that's weathered. All right. And I'll just go back over it little bits just till I run out of stuff that's in the airbrush. Like now. There we go. All right. So that's that. Now, what I'm going to let it do is dry for a little while. Oh, I hate when that happens. And then I come back with, see if I can find one. Oh. So I have these pens here. They're enamel stained pens, and this one's rust. So this rust colored pen, when I go along the rails, it's just a stain, so it doesn't, and it leaves the rails looking a little rusty, but it kind of lets that dark brown show through as well, so it doesn't look too orange like a lot of rust does. So all right, so let me here's my raw umber I was using. And what I'm going to do is clean it. Just clean it out a little bit. Now I can use it to soak my paint cups in lacquer thinner. Oh, which don't fit in the little jar. That's great. Okay, you have to do it the old-fashioned way. Just wipe them off. So Boulder Creek, you can only get the 1-inch insulation? Wow. That's crazy. As you can see, I've got double layer of 2-inch. because I want to be able to dig into mine. Wow, that's something. That's where I got mine, Scott, at Home Depot. But I got it before construction material prices started going up. Because I tell you what, they're crazy now. Construction material, I'm glad I don't have to buy anymore. I actually have bought all the construction materials I need for this place. Now let me just run some cleaner through my airbrush. I'll be done with that. Wipe it off. I'll probably go clean it better when I put it back in my shop with some Q-tips and stuff. I just don't have any out here. So I don't know how well, y'all probably can't see it from there. Let me see if I can bring my camera. So this is what it looks like so far. So I don't know how well that'll focus that close. So there's, so that's it. What I'll do now is, like I say, is I'm going to take one of these enamel stain markers, and I can take this thing off. That annoying thing. So these are getting hard to find too, because they're Model Master. I think I bought 10 of them because I found a stash of them at a hobby shop online. So I bought 10, and I'll have enough to finish my layout with them. You got to get the flow started on these. There we go. Just starting to make its way. So you can see how orange it is. But like I say, that doesn't, because it's a stain, it doesn't make things that orange. Sorry, allergies getting me. All right, so let me start down here. I think I'm gonna have to shake it up a little bit better. Thanks. Thanks, Shay. Yeah, this is just not shaking up real well. Yeah, that's much better. Much better. All right. So what I do is now with this, let me put the zoom on my camera. I think that's as far as it zooms in. So I'm just going along with this pen along the rails, and I keep it at a specific angle so I get the tie plates as well as the rail. And it's just kind of, you just kind of learn what angle to do it at to paint both. It just takes time. And I might have should have let that dry longer. I think I am. I'm gonna let that dry longer. It looks like it's taken some of the brown paint off when I do it. So I'll just let it dry overnight and not worry about it this evening, because I think I got my ties painted the way I wanted to. If you the fun part is going over the ties and getting the paint off the top of them. That's the real fun part. What I do while the paint still hasn't fully dried, I'll take a door shim. See these little packages of shim, and go along the top, and it'll actually take the paint, a lot of the paint off. What I don't get off, I'll go over with a bright boy and get off, and then just wipe it with some acetone. But this helps. And you don't want to let this dry too long. The longer you let it dry, the harder it is to get off. So. And anything will do, anything that's got some hardness to it, but not too hard, because you don't want to scrape your rails. You don't want anything harder than the rails. Could I have taken 1 millimeter masking tape and masked this prior to doing this? Probably. But I think I'd just rather scrape off the paint off the top of the rails. And one thing I didn't do, but you might want to do it, is I just didn't do it because I was in a rush, is you might want to put your feeder wires on your track first. Wilmer! Yeah, you might want to put your feeder wires on your track first, because that'll help. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to just scrape a little place off and attach my feeder wires, make sure it's good and clean. and use a little flux and then a little alcohol. That'll clean off the spot real good to attach those wires. Wilmer, come down and help me paint some track. Hop in your car and drive to Texas. Yeah, I'm still going to have to go over this with the Bright Boy once I'm done. It's getting a lot of it off, but not everything. So is CP going to buy KCS? Well, they're in talks. We don't know. And it's happened before. Somebody's tried to buy KCS, so. And even if they do, then they've got to go through about 1.5 years worth of government stuff to let the merger go through. So even if CP does buy KCS, it's going to be a while before it really happens. But it'll be sad if KCS goes away. You should be really sad, Mystic, because I mean, you had a big presence down there with Louisiana and Arkansas down in New Orleans. Yeah, that's right, Scott. You're right. I wished back when I was growing up, I had taken pictures and had a video camera. Well, nobody really had a video camera when I was growing up. It would have been 8mm, but I wish I had done it then. Because man, there was a lot of stuff that would be valuable to have now. So as you can see, I've got some. Zoom back out again. I've got some cars sitting here, but no track. I mean, there's some cars sitting there and some cars sitting there, but yeah, I haven't got the track laid yet. So that's where in my JMRI program, when I did it, I put them, that's where they're going to be. So I did the same thing with my grain elevator down at the other end, if you can see it. So getting a few buildings out here, just little by little. I did that one video where I got them showed you the ones in the yard. So that's just the standard Walthers grain elevator. Yep. No, so KCS, I guess, goes through Houston. Okay. Yeah, they didn't used to. Long time ago. Yeah, but I imagine going, when they bought that Mexican railroad that they, what did I do? Oh, that there's a lot more presence down in southern Texas. Yep, this is the bad part of painting rails, is cleaning it. once you're done. I think this will probably take longer than it took me to paint them. Like I say, if you leave it too long, though, it's going to be even harder. So. Turn a little bit. Yeah, I was the same, Boulder Creek. I've got some of that Tamiya masking tape. It's just 1 millimeter wide, so it'd be perfect on the railhead. But I wouldn't want to take. I don't want to take that long to mask either. So. Yeah, I think so too. I think it would take longer to mask it than it does to clean it. Yeah, I didn't figure anybody else was live streaming right now, so I thought I'd have y'all join me and help me paint my track. There's that. Like I said, I'm going to have to come back with a bright boy just to really scrub it, but this gets most of the paint off. Through 15 and 14 now. Yeah, Wilmer, it actually takes longer to mask than it does to scrape this stuff off, believe it or not. Heath, you missed a lot, Heath. You would not believe the amount of stuff you missed. But I'm not going to tell you what it was. Were you out walking your dog again, Heath? After I get this piece of track, I've got it laid all the way down. Of course, I have to do my sidings, but I only have a curve, and then over my lift up thing, and then I'll have all my track laid. Yeah. Yes, I did. I showed everybody all of my tattoos. That's a laugh. That's funny. You know what? Let me just see if starting with the bright board might make it a little faster, which it might. Can you see me all the way down here? No. I've got some ballast coming in the mail tomorrow, or not in the mail, FedEx, because I just don't deal with the mail, U.S. mail anymore. So I can start laying some more ballast, which is why I wanted to get some track painted. I think what I'll do is over here, I'm going to make another road, but more elevated, so it crosses at grade here. I'm in the process of, I got all the materials. I haven't started, but I have all the materials now to make a traffic light. I have not found any traffic lights that I like commercially made. So I've decided to make my own. I've got the got all the LEDs and the materials and the circuit board, everything. So I'm going to make it out of brass. Like I say, the ones that you get made commercially just to me don't look good. So I'm going to see what I can come up with. I mean, I might have to give it up in the end, but but I'm going to see if I can make one. You know, a working one actually. You know, so. And going back up, I see Heath. Heath, strike one. That's it. You start saying that stuff, you're out of here. A KCS tattoo with it crossed out. Huh? Oh man. Yeah, I think this bright boy's making a little bit easier job of it. Oops. Darn it. Oh well, I broke my guardrail loose. Have to glue that back on. Yeah, I've never had any luck with super glue. I just have had no luck with super glue. I find that super glue just doesn't hold. I mean, like that, I just bumped my guardrail on my bridge and it just came off. So yeah, it is 4 inches of foam. So, and that's so I can dig into it, for scenery and all. Well, it's good to know, Wilmer. I'm glad you have it. I'd like to find some kind of glue that will actually hold these, this stuff down. Because it's kind of frustrating that it won't stay in place. Trying to glue metal to plastic, it doesn't seem to be anything that works. I mean, I might try that 2-part epoxy stuff. I do have some. I don't know if that would work better. Yeah, Heath, I went and stole it. I did. I found a construction site And I stole all their foam insulation. But if somebody has a recommendation, something that's better than super glue for gluing plastic to metal or metal to plastic, I'm all ears. Because this super glue is just, to me, I've had, with very little stress, it seems to break the joint, and I don't know why. I think of what I'd like to try is that glue, and dentists have been using this for years. That stuff that you activate with UV light. I haven't had any experience with it, but I'm wondering how well that would work. All right, we're gonna meet in the middle here. I know y'all just love watching me do this. Yeah. That's one 3-foot section. All right, Heath, you take it easy. Oh, so strike two, Heath. Lucky he's leaving. Go. Now this is the part I scrape with the wood. I'm just coming along and polishing it a little bit. You know what? My favorite type of train is probably some type of mixed freight. Because it's just less boring that way. When I see all of one type of car, and you know, there was a time when you didn't see that, or you rarely saw it. You know, when you, I mean, every freight train was mixed. You had different types of cars in it. I mean, there was the odd railroad that ran like it was either UP or Santa Fe that ran all auto racks back in the 60s and 70s. But besides that, you just didn't see that much of that kind of stuff when I was growing up, at least. It was almost always a mixed freight. And that's what that's what I'm used to. So when I see like a stack train, it's just boring to me because it's all the same thing. I like to see a lot of box cars, but you don't see as many as you used to because of stack trains. I do like tankers, as you can see. My camera's in front of where my refinery is going to be right here. So these are 2 tracks into the refinery where these cars are. And I set up a train in JMRI just to run to the refinery and back to the yard too. So. Yeah, I don't see much coal even here. I guess there is down when you get down to New Orleans, and I know KCS, if they still do, they hauled a lot of coal for SWEPCO. Maybe they still do that. I'm not sure, but that was up in Arkansas, in Missouri. So I haven't seen much of that. Now, when I lived in Virginia for a time, I saw some coal trains. So those were Norfolk Southerns running those. And it's funny, I'm still up there, and this was just a few years ago when I moved from there. So I used to see a lot of heritage paint schemes, leftover ones, not cars that hadn't been repainted. Delaware and Hudson stuff, Boston, Maine, all that kind of stuff, and it's just cars that hadn't been painted in 30 or 40 years. And it was faded, but it still had the old logos on them and everything. So I'm Split Rock. I'm modeling Central Louisiana. That's where I'm modeling. Hey Dan, how's it going? Ave Maria, huh? Yeah, so since this is central Louisiana, that's why I had to have a paper mill on my layout. And there's a lot of paper and wood products, around here. So, yep. Uh, Most of the petrochemical traffic's down south in Louisiana now, but there was a time, I mean, when it was big all over the state. You know. You did, Dan. You missed all the good stuff. I've been painting my track, is what I was doing. So now I'm cleaning off the rail heads with my Bright Boy. And that's just so much fun. You know what I should have done is I should have uploaded StreamYard and had y'all some of y'all join me, but I don't. Um, I don't. I have a StreamYard account. I just haven't done it yet, so that was kind of silly of me. That's what I should have done. Kind of silly that I didn't. I'm almost through this stretch. And this would be 10 times harder if I let it dry overnight. What I should have done, and I have done this in the past, which makes it a lot easier, I will actually take some glycerin on my fingertip and rub it along the top of the rails. And when you do that, so it's kind of oily. The paint just doesn't stick at all, and you can just wipe it off. Oh, can you believe my battery's running low? Hold on a second. Let me get my power cord. Yeah, I know you don't want to lose me. Clean track. So Dan, go out and buy one. This is where my wife puts me when I misbehave. Little does she know, it's no punishment. Yeah, Roy, the Amarillo's a long way away. As you probably know, Texas is a big state. Because I live way over in East Texas. So if you're going to paint your track, that's what I recommend. I don't know why I didn't do it. You know, I'm getting old. I just don't think about these things sometimes. But just take some glycerin on the tip of your finger and just run it along the rails before you paint it, and then it'll be much easier to wipe off. See you, Roy. Yeah, there you go. And just buy the next house. Have it all layout. That's okay, you know, because nobody's layout is ever big enough. You always want something bigger. Like I always say this, it'd be great to buy one of those old Kmarts that is shut down and use the entire Kmart for a layout. Yep, I just got in a hurry and didn't think about what I was doing. I should have thought this through and put glycerin on top of the rails. As I say, I have done that before and it just wipes off really easily. Almost done here though. And one thing that makes it a little bit harder too is when I sprayed that lacquer on top of it. That dull coat lacquer, you know, hardens it a little more. See ya, Wilmer. Take it easy. Go to sleep. Yeah, Roy, I'm so close. You would think. Yeah, I've done that too, split rock. In fact, that's what I was doing in the beginning. I had my block of wood wherever it went. Um, and I was cleaning it off with this block of wood. So, but I just decided to get my bright boy out and do it. I'm almost done. I've just got another foot and a half maybe. Yeah, I got less than a foot now. So. There we go. Got it. Got it. All right, there we go. All shiny again. Oh, missed a spot. Okay. I'm just going to test one more time and see how my my marker will do. Yeah. Yeah, you know, Split Rock, I haven't been able to find the other one. My original Bright Boy is like Masonite. It's hard, and it just and I bought it in 1977, and I still have it. These little soft ones are just, I mean, they get eat up so easily. I like the one I bought in 1977. It was a hard one, you know. But I haven't seen the hard ones in a while. I'd like to find one if you know where they are. All right. All right. Yeah, this is just this ain't working at all. They're not real well anyway. Oh, there we go. That worked too well. You sure don't want to get it down on your ties. I don't know whether I want to do this or hand paint them. I said once this dries, it's actually a little duller than it is with, than it is when you're doing it. It looks a little rusty when you're doing it, but it dulls itself down and kind of blends. Like I said, these are getting hard to find though, these paint pens, since Model Masters, since they stopped their Model Master line testers, or rather Rust-Oleum, because that's who owns testers now. Yeah, I just don't know if this is doing what I want it to do. I'm gonna leave this little section overnight and let it dry and see what it looks like. I mean, it might be fine once it dries. But I'll just have to see in the morning. Because I want the rails a slightly different color than the ties. They don't have to be a huge distinction, because if you've seen some railroads, the ties and the rails almost exactly the same color. We'll see what happens. You know what? I'm going to experiment with one other thing too. I'm going to experiment with this. Now that's too rusty. That's too orange. But I wonder, yeah. You know what I wonder? That actually looks good. But if I do this, I wonder if I take, I got this little top to one of my boxes that one of my cars came in. I actually kind of like that. What I'm doing is I'm taking this paintbrush, taking these pastel and scraping it into a powder, and then just see what happens when I run it along the side of the rail. And I'm kind of coming back and wiping it off. Just so it highlights like the spikes and the tie plates. I wonder too if I put this pastel powder in a little alcohol and water and paint it on, what it will look like. Actually, I kind of like the look of this, believe it or not. This just kind of came to me. And I don't have to be careful with it. And then I can run over it again with some dull coat. So if I get down here and blow it, and that gets the excess off. We're going to rag along the edge there. Wow, I actually like that. Yeah, I should do that. I don't have one, but If my wife doesn't have one, I will go and buy one tomorrow. But I actually like this effect because it's just a hint of rust on the rail and the tie plates and the spikes. And it also gets that effect. I don't know if you've seen, if you've looked at rails where the rust stains have kind of washed down onto the ties themselves. And it's doing that same thing here. Yeah, I will do the insides. But this, wow, this looks better than I thought. I'm more and more. I was kind of hesitant in the beginning to use pastels for weathering, but the more I use them, I gotta say I like them. I haven't, and I was hesitant because I know they blow off so easily. Like when you airbrush over it to put a flat coat on top of them to seal them, but I'm getting less and less hesitant about that. Yeah. Now let me just. Blow off the excess once again and come along just to try to wipe them off the ties. Wow, that is a lot better than I thought. I like that. I don't know if I don't know how well this camera will focus up close. I can. Oops. I don't know how well y'all can see that. I kind of like it. Yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to go. And I've been experimenting with different ways of weathering track throughout my whole layout, so they're all going to look different. So, and these are, like I said, these are just pastels I bought at Hobby Lobby. So they're cheap, and they seem to work really well. Yeah, I think in this, especially in this scenario, like you were saying, this is it's better to have this just very faintly on here. Because if there was any more than this, it would look it would look, I don't know, it wouldn't look good. You're gonna say then I can go over it with a with my dull coat. and seal it in. Well, that looks about perfect, really. There's enough static electricity where it sticks. And that's all you need. You just need it barely sticking in there. Well, that looks good. I'm gonna remember this trick, I think, for the rest of my layout. All right. Great idea. Now, like I said, I'll let that, I'll come back and do some more tomorrow, but I think that's, yep, that's exactly what I needed. And you know, it gives a little variance too, because it doesn't, it's not exactly the same on every inch of the rail. It's you get darker and lighter shades, so I like that. All right. I know, Dan, you're way up at altitude, but you should be used to it. And you're right, split rock dull coat's going to reduce the effect of it, which is it's going to blow some off and then also help it to blend a little bit. So, but I like that. I think that's a keeper. That little trick's a keeper. So, guys, I've been on for 2 hours and I can't believe that. I appreciate. Thanks, Otter Creek. I appreciate everybody joining me, but I guess it's time to pack it in. And in 30 minutes, Perry Mason comes on anyway, so I got to go watch that. So anyway, hey, thanks for joining me tonight. It's yeah, it does. I appreciate everybody joining me tonight and hanging out in the train room with me. It's just like I said, it's better just to have some company while you're doing stuff like this. So, but all right, everybody take care, and I appreciate it, and we will talk to everyone later. Take it easy. Have a good night.